Hello, everyone, and warm welcome. I feel like it's been a minute, and Vladimir's joining me today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on the chat. You can obviously check out Vlad's channel, linked it up in the description below. I'm going to talk all things. We're going to talk about some tiny e-readers. We're going to talk about what we think are the best right now. We're going to talk through some of the kind of the best alternatives to the Remarkable, and specifically focusing in on the note-taking devices. And we're going to talk about the latest in processors and Windows on ARM. So say hello in the chat, everybody, and say hello, Vladimir, please.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Excited to have a good chat today with Kit.
Yeah, and I guess we were just chatting, weren't we? And we were thinking, gosh, the A5X2 is coming soon, and well, I don't know much more about it, but of course it's fun to speculate. And it should be here in September, so that's no longer speculation. And a lot of you are thinking to yourself, gosh, should I get that? Should I wait, or should I get one of these that are already available? And we're going to talk through today. So we're going to start with small e-readers. What do we think is the very best in the small e-reader? And I've been really enjoying these kind of phone format, this phone kind of size of e-reader, and I think it's absolutely fascinating, really, isn't it? This with this whole minimal phone sort of well, or dumb phone, I guess people like to call it, don't they? This idea of having a dumb phone, having a phone that isn't such a distraction in your life. And I've been driving the ultimate distraction device, which is essentially a tablet in your pocket, which is absolutely brilliant. You know, absolutely fantastic device. This Fold 3 this is, and luckily I've managed to put a new screen protector on it. But recently I've actually replaced this with this here. This is the Big Meat High Break, and of course they've sent me this to review, so I've replaced it and I'm going to go ahead and review it. But as far as I'm aware, the reviews that I've seen on it so far, nobody's actually completely just gone over to it and daily drove it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to live with that for some time. I've just recently made a little bit of content about this. This is the Marlin Ink Palm. Have you heard this one, Vlad?
I've seen kind of some images of it online, but I haven't seen much content on it.
Yeah, this is an AliExpress job, 80 quid. It's so light. I mean, like that's not going to come through on the video, but like compared to the Boox Palmer, this is really, this is really quite heavy compared to the Ink Palm. It's impressively light.
The screen looks a little smaller too, right?
It is a little bit smaller, yeah. It's definitely, but it's not much thinner. It's smaller vertically. So the one thing about it is you turn the page a little bit more regularly. But for just like, well, just if you want something that slips into your pocket and is a little e-reader that's the size of a phone, then do you know what? It does the job, and it's 80 quid. I couldn't really believe that. And so, yeah, the Boox Palmer, incredible popularity right now, but that's 280 quid. And the Boox device, wow, it's not that much different. It's okay. The thing about it is you've got the Boox Super Refresh, which you can see doing such an incredible job with that e-ink, changing it and keeping it clean. It does look really, really good. But the Marlin Ink Palm, if you just want to use it for a Kindle, and you've got to have a bit of a workaround because you don't have Google Play services on it. So I've had to download Kindle through like F-Droid or Aurora Store, which is the hack there. It was really good. And I really, really enjoyed this. I couldn't really recommend it. If you just want a little e-reader, then go for this. But now enter the true e-ink phone. Here it is. It's the High Break, and I've had this in my pocket for the last 2 days now.
Is the SIM card on that 5G or 4G?
4G.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've just made a video about it, which you guys can all see on my channel, just my sort of first thoughts. And okay, it doesn't have a fingerprint reader, which is annoying because it's your phone and you want to have the security of having a password on it. But it's everything it needs to be. It's got Google Play Store. You can install what you want on it, and I've been really careful and thinking to myself, what do I really want to install on it? But I straight away put my own SIM card in here, my full SIM card, the main number I use for everyone, and this is what I'm carrying around. And you can see, compared to carrying this thing around, it's so much thinner and lighter. Again, it's heavy compared to the little Marlin Ink Palm, It's quite it's impressively light, this device. I guess there's not much.
So, how would you say it's actually as a phone?
So that's it. That's what I'm really sort of getting used to. And I think like, well, what am I used to doing with this thing? I'm used to putting out the fold, and I'm used to, my habit is check YouTube analytics, check the videos, like, Vladimir's posted something, that's 5 minutes of my life gone. But
can you watch video on that one, or is it
you can, yeah, but you'll notice I haven't put the YouTube app on there.
Sure.
And I think that I think I'm just using it to be a bit conscious, and I've put my second SIM card in this. I'm not saying I'm never going to use this, but right, so this guy can go, maybe it can live in my car or in my bag, and the Big Me High brake can be in my actual front pocket. And and what I'm finding is, I don't know about you, and tell me if you're the same in the audience. Are you the same? Like, you've got this habit where you pull out your phone and you check whatever it is you check on it, and you go through maybe like 3 or 4 different apps and you check them. And are you the same as that, Vlad?
Yeah, I mean, I think I made a video on like dumb phones recently, or like minimalist phones.
Yeah.
I want to try one because I do find myself sometimes almost like subconsciously I'll go on my phone and like automatically check an app, and then sometimes I'm like, wait, why did I even go here? I didn't like intentionally do that. So I think there's certainly something to be said about e-ink phones like that,
Yeah, and I know, like, I've watched so many like YouTube videos where like I tried a dumb phone and they can't do it. They try a dumb phone for like 3 days. They intend to do a whole month and they can't do it. And they can't do it because there's so many things, like there's so many points in your life where you kind of expected, it's like scan this QR code to get this. It's pull up your email and get your tickets and put the screen and show the QR code scanner to get through a barrier or something like that in a station. There's so many times we now just totally expected to have a smartphone, and so what people is that, well, okay, I'll go back to my smartphone, but I'll try and uninstall loads of things. But it's also then it's just really easy to put them back on, isn't it? And the thing is, what I've been doing is I've been putting this out when habitually I'm like, that bit of my brain is like, oh, you've got a second, pull out your phone. And because I haven't got a lot of the apps that I'm used to, you've noticed there's no social media on here at all. I think, okay, well, I'll open Kindle. And then I'm like, right, let's, I've got a couple of minutes. Let's read a few pages of Watchmen, or I've been reading a classic called The Decameron, which is about like the plague in Firenze, in Florence. And like, it's just like, I mean, look how good this is. Like, that is, as a way to read comics or graphic novels, you've got your thumb on the down volume arrow, and you just, it just looks so good. And then sometimes you get to a panel which is like horizontal in orientation. Let me just get to one.
That is super convenient, just to be able to do it one-handed,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's just like, you still look like you're someone just scrolling through your phone, but you're not scrolling, you're turning the pages.
Yeah.
At some point there'll be one that's, in any case, sometimes there's one that's horizontal and it's a bit small, but what you just do is you rotate it like that, and then you've got the panel horizontally, and you can still read the text. So I've just been really enjoying that. But what you'll see, all right, this is the issue with it right now. And you can see there's a little bit of ghosting there. Mm-hmm. See that? But I've got it set up so this button, one click is a full refresh.
Oh, okay.
So now it looks good as well.
Oh, that's cool. So this is you customizing the software?
Yeah, exactly. This is a Kaleido 2 Plus panel, I believe, which is like the older fashioned technology.
Yeah.
And you can see the colors, even on this very simple, it is quite muted colors in Watchmen.
Yeah.
You can see the colors are quite muted across the whole thing. If I go to maybe pictures I've taken, this is a really nice butterfly in my, really lovely yellow butterfly.
It's kind of grayish.
Leaves quite a lot to be desired. There's the kids at the park, and the greens, for instance, aren't really coming out.
Have you personally? I've never tried a Kaleido 2 screen, but have you personally noticed a big difference to Kaleido 2?
Oh yeah. If I get out a Kaleido 3, because we're talking about small e-readers, not just the phones. And it's not just the muted colors, but it's also the pixelation. So the Kaleido 2 Plus, you see there's straight away, without any front light on it at the minute, by the way, the colors popping a bit more there, aren't they, compared to there? But also the color resolution is only 100 dpi or 100 ppi on the older Kaleido 2.
Yeah.
So Kaleido 3 is better, and even Kaleido 3 is not really quite ready in any case.
Yeah.
So
150, right, for Kaleido 3?
So it's Kaleido 3, 150 for color, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I'd like
that's
to know,
a pretty noticeable difference.
Yeah, anybody in the audience got a better, like, because I've been, just to wrap that bit up, I've been really enjoying the Kindle experience with comics and graphic novels. Is there anyone in the audience who's got a better e-reading app for comics, a better recommendation? This is let's have a look at, this is the other Big Me. This is the Big Me B751, it's called, 7-inch screen. And you can see here, what have I got? I've got the lights in mid-tone, and also it only has a cold light, this high break.
Okay.
But if I go to, well, you can see, I mean, look at the colors straight away.
Yeah.
Just much better. I'll go to the same front page. Try and be fair to them both. But you see the difference. Bring them up to the camera for the people at home, because I know the live stream is a bit more pixelated than what I'm seeing. You can see the difference in the yellows there. Yeah, you can see the difference in the reds, and so, you know, it's a shame really. The thing is, Big Me are going to bring out a more up-to-date phone probably with, I don't think we've got this confirmed yet, but probably with the Kaleido 3, I would imagine. Maybe they just don't exist, the Kaleido 3 in this size of panel yet. So, you know, we will see. The thing is, it's there and it works.
Yeah.
And I read a lot of the stuff in the Reddit communities and such, and I'm finding people pointing out things that you can't do. You know, people finding, well, some apps need biometric. It doesn't have wireless charging. It doesn't have NFC, near field communication for payments, things like that. But actually, all the Google services work, and Google Wallet works as well. So you can pay for things on it, as you'd expect to do. You know, that's one of the things I've been thinking to myself. You know, when is it the case that I'm going to pull it out and, oh, I can't do something because I have an e-ink phone rather than a real phone? And I think sometimes that, you know, maybe paying for things in a restaurant using Google Wallet, stuff like that, is quite a common thing to do now, isn't it? And so there's a few times like that.
That doesn't have Google Play, correct?
It does have it. It does have it.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Moan that didn't.
Oh, okay. So in some senses, I think that's kind of nice, because like getting apps on there, you're very intentional about which apps you put on, right? Although it's obviously more annoying to get it on there, but
yeah,
it's still possible.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think hello to you all. Absolutely, very warm welcome. And Ruby's pointing out, sunlight visible small device with GPS. Yeah, GPS maps work absolutely fine on here. Works really well. Could be nice.
When do you think a Kaleido 3 device will come out from Boox? Like, that's a little phone.
You mean there's actually a phone?
Yeah,
that's the thing. I mean, I really didn't expect the Palmer to take off and be so popular as it has been. And I'll be honest, because my conclusions were like, I just wish this could actually just have 4G at least. You know, even if it didn't even have, I just wish this could be my phone. I was like, I really want just to have this all the time. But of course, I had to take this and this.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, you know, it's just, that's more, isn't it? That's now too much. And so I even tried to replace this with a tiny little phone so it could be a mobile hotspot. But then it's like turning things off and going to different things. You just didn't need that. Whereas now it's like occasionally, and this is going to become the Z Fold. This will become my small tablet, if you like, that I'll take with me when I want to take a small tablet. You know, it's the size of an iPad mini, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and almost as big as an iPad mini, and it's got a Wacom EMR pen. But yeah. So yes, I think this is like I think it's really interesting anyway. But then you think to yourself, well, okay, what about this size? What about this is the 7-inch e-reader? Or what about, you know, why a small e-reader? Why not just go stick with a Kindle? This is a Kindle Paperwhite. You know, it's great. I mean, the battery life is absolutely stupendous on these things. You know, you've got the bicolor lights, you've got the lovely high contrast screen there, or even just the Kindle Kids edition. And I've just been reading with my daughter, and we read on her Kindle Kids edition, which is a little bit smaller than this.
I saw you put out a video about that, right?
Yeah. I did one about what I've taken with me on the travel for the family, and well, that's about the same size as the Moan. That's about the same price as the Moan. You're talking 80, £100. So really, what's the best small e-reader? Well, I think there's still, you know, there's still room for Kindle in that kind of debate, just a basic Kindle. And as I said, if anyone knows a better app for reading comics, that you've got that guided mode so it can fit onto this screen, I'd love to hear about it, because this has been great. It's just been absolutely fantastic, to be quite honest.
I wonder if you had a different app, though, if you would lose some of the features like the side button movement and all that, you know?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I just was thinking to myself, well, okay, what would I recommend? If you just want a small e-reader, I'd really recommend looking at AliExpress and having a look at this, because you might want to add a different app. Like people like to use Libby or Readwise, or just have a good browser with it. Or, you know, there might be just a few little Android apps you want to use. But I wouldn't recommend this if you need Google Play services, because it doesn't have Google Play. But can I really recommend
complete on the screen?
Say again.
It has the Moan phone. It has a little like target to complete on it.
I know, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Well, I think that only works if you read within their reading app.
So it tracks your reading. That's cool.
But it's a really nice idea, and you can put any PDF you want on here. It does have its own little app store, but it's by default it's a it's a Chinese ROM. It's not a Western market. It's not really for the Western market. You can see.
Gotcha.
So you're gonna live in a world of kind of like workarounds if you do get this. So you've got to be aware of that. And so best small e-reader, I mean, like maybe just stick with the Kindle, really, because it's just so easy to use. But I guess, I mean, it's like we say with cameras, don't you? The best camera is the one you've got with you, right? Yeah. And the best e-reader is the one you've got with you. And if you commit to having an e-reader as your phone, then I think you're just going to find yourself reading more, and you're going to be enjoying that more. And that's where I'm at really with it. I'd recommend thinking whether you do want the color one, though. I kind of, big part of me wishes maybe Big Me had sent me just the black and white one, really, because if you just want to read words, I mean, yeah, okay, the comics I've been enjoying, been good, but
it's got the better content.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's even less. Then it's like, I mean, I'm talking dollars. It's $280. It's like, it's less than that in pounds. And so, you know, it's a really good priced device. I think they've done a really good job with it, actually. Yeah, well done, Big Me. You've
so have you been using your pocketbook ink pad?
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that. Yeah, I was absolutely. Do you know?
I've been quite impressed with Kaleido 3. I think this is a really good like reading experience.
Oh yeah, and do you know what was great about it? I haven't used this for like at least a month, maybe 2 months or something, and I literally pressed it, one button press, and it came back on as quickly as this, and it still had all that, you know, still battery life all there.
Speaking of battery, I kind of wish that I had got the case that has the Qi charging built in. I only learned about it after that I bought it already, you know.
Oh, did it have, so it says Qi charging that goes to the pogo pins?
Yeah, so I was I just reviewed this, but like I was researching, and they have this one. They have one
Mm.
that's like an origami, kind of like the Note Air 3C.
Yeah, I've got that
So
as
it can
well.
like stand up and kind of like prop itself. And then there's
Yeah.
a third one that is it's only like $5 more, but it has cheat compatibility. I
Mm.
think it adds a back section because it needs that for the when you rest it, you know.
Mm. I think this is what I would recommend for the really serious readers, the people who just like want to sit down with a academic text that just they want to, you know, blitz through it, and really, because the ergonomics of this is amazing. And yeah, you say the color screen is great,
And the size too, right?
the
You can
size is,
actually
yeah,
like read PDFs. You can. It's
that's right.
very similar to the Nomad
Yeah,
experience, you know.
but then I was thinking, if would I recommend this if you wanted this size? Well, as you say in that video, the travel, what we've taken with me on the travels, one thing that's really impressed on all of our travels has been the Tab Mini C, the Boox Tab Mini C, and I can't show it to you right now because my wife's probably sitting next door reading on it right now. But like, it's just such a good use of the e-ink screen, and that's where I think we'll, you know, like we'll look forward to Boox's next generation of that, because that really, like, over the year or so now, with more than a year, because I took that with me to New York last time and it wasn't even brand new then. So it's been more, it must be a year and a half old now, the Tab Mini C, and it is a really good implementation of the Kaleido free screen with all the benefits of the Google Play Store and everything like that. Yeah, you mentioned you want to talk a bit about the Kobo. The Kobo, I haven't tried the Kobos, but have you got the Kobo readers?
I've not. I emailed Kobo to see if they have any review units. But I'm kind of interested in it because it just seems like, you know, this is a 7.8, like the pocketbook, but I think that 7-inch is just a nice portability factor. And
Yeah.
that design does have a big, I think it's a bezel on the left or the right side, depending on which way you hold it. But so I think the 7-inch size is actually nice because of that design. And then it seems like the pen is pretty good, and the, you know, it's got Kaleido 3. So
Yeah, nice to have the
waterproof
pen, but
too.
it's not as
Waterproof
good
as
as
well.
the Wacom EMR.
It's
the
I mean,
same.
is the Bigme B7 or B751, is that waterproof or no?
I don't. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now. I'm not
I
entirely
feel
sure.
like
I think they're all water
I'm not sure
resistant.
either, but I feel like it's not, right? I
No.
think so that might be one of the nice little like note takers that's actually waterproof, which is pretty
Yeah,
appealing, you know.
that's a good point. Yeah.
I would
The other one that's
consider that.
waterproof, if that's important to any of you out there, is the Wave, the Mobiscribe Wave, which I hear really good things about as well. So I'm certainly there are two that's kind of missing in my my knowledge, really, the Kobo Libra and the 6 and 7-inch Kobos. Great color screens. Apparently they, you know, just like the Pocketbook, get really good things out of the color screen for static reading things, and also the what
Another
which
interesting
one?
one I think is the
Wave.
Pocketbook Verse color,
Mm,
or Verse color. I think I saw an
yeah.
announcement in June about it, but I haven't seen any like articles about it coming out yet. I emailed Pocketbook, so we'll see. But I think that 6-inch size is pretty nice too, because that's like way easier to put into a pocket than the 7.8. You know, like this
Yeah.
is, you could put it in like coat pockets or something, but
Yeah.
not in your like pants pocket.
Yeah, and I think if that's what you've decided to do, I mean, the difference in size is that much. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can kind of get away with a. Yeah, I have in the past put these in my back jeans pocket. They just about fit into a men's kind of jeans pocket. A normal Kindle certainly will slip into, or the Paperwhite will slip into a back pocket. But you know, if we're looking for a small e-reader, and I think if you're the type of person that wants to get a bit more of a reading habit going, I think having it as your phone is going to be so compelling. And roll on the Android. I think that it'll be an Android 13 version, the next one, or even Android 14 maybe. Roll on the latest, the Pro version, I think they're calling it. But then it'll be a bit more expensive, and no, but right now for the price, quite enjoying this. And you wanted to discuss minimal phone a little bit. as well.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. I pulled it up. Can I share my screen? I pulled up the tab for it.
Which can you?
Let me know if you can see that.
Yeah, we see that right.
Yeah. So this I think is really cool. It's kind of like the old Blackberries, and as I'm sure you know, like typing on e-ink isn't really a fun experience. Just
No,
because
yeah.
And so I think
Well,
this.
I backed this. I backed this on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, whichever it is.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I've gone for the all black one.
Okay.
Because they've emailed us asking us for colors.
Gotcha. So they're
looking forward to
getting probably pretty close to production then, huh?
Yeah, I haven't spent a little bit of time on this, so it's nice to see this at this point.
Yeah.
But what I'm wondering
I've
is,
refined the design since the Kickstarter, I think.
yeah, what I'm wondering is the buttons in the latest pictures and things they've shown look a bit mushier than I was expecting. They've always in every render at first, nice clicky keys, and we'll see. Because BlackBerry did kind of get that right, didn't they, when they were in their heyday?
Yeah, definitely. It was really nice to type on those. But
So
did you notice they have a camera that's optional in the front? Did you get it equipped with that or no?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember getting asked that question.
But it's nice they got the dual SIM too, so you could put multiple in there, and then it's one of the few ones that has a headphone jack too.
What's the click into the operating system for me, will you there, buddy? Down, the way.
Down. Yeah, here, gotcha. It's 14.
Oh, yeah. So it will be Android 14.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty modern.
Yeah,
have good security.
And so maybe this and will it have will it have NFC? Will it have fingerprint?
It looks like fingerprint unlock side.
Yeah, side. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Now let's see sensors. Yeah, compass, gyro, light sensor, proximity sensor.
Yeah, there's no light sensor on this Big Me.
And the flashlight's nice too, because that's a feature that is pretty handy on your phone. And
yeah, it's got one.
Seems like some of these have that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, I was surprised that the Big Me only has the one speaker right at the very front, which is the earpiece speaker as well. That looks like it's got some downwards firing speakers as well.
Oh, so here's the key travel kit. 0.015.
I can't see because my thing's in the way. What is it?
0.015. So pretty small, but then again, it is a small device,
Yeah. As long as it's not like an really old cheap calculator, where the whole thing moves as one, as long as it's not.
And the PPI is good. 230 on a small screen like that, I think is fine.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on, shall we? I'm looking forward to that. I mean, as I say, I've backed that. I was told a bit of a warning about that it does really look like it's almost there now, doesn't it? And it'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to do a side by side. Because when that comes, I'll put my main SIM card in that and live with that.
It's funny. I'm looking at the thing there, and it says Reddit on there. That seems like the opposite of what you'd want to use a minimal phone for.
Yeah. There's been a couple of moments where I'm like, shall I install Reddit on here? I'm like, no. Just It's just about being intentional, isn't it? And it's about deciding what do I want in my pocket and what can actually wait till I get home. And there's plenty of times when you just do something because it's there in your pocket, and it's not that important. So it's just about deciding I am going to do that thing on this phone, so I'm going to install that app. Okay, cool. A couple of questions really quickly. Waiting for the new Boox Ultra C Pro or a Tab X color generation. Absolutely. Hoping for a Tab X color generation. You never know. One more thing, Boox have teased that they will have another 6-inch device coming soon. And one thing we haven't talked about is the best black and white screens. We're going to talk about that in a bit in the next section. And that will be, I think, I hope it will be one of the best black and white screens going. But you can see there on the minimal phone, 230 ppi resolution means it is the previous generation. It's not going to be Carter 1200 or even Carter 1300.
Probably 1000, right, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So that'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with that screen technology, but that also what you get in the 1300, the Carter 1300, is very high response, which is worth having, in my opinion. Okay, we'll talk about that more in the next little section. So let me know if you've got any questions. Max says he's had a really good experience with the Kobo. Yeah, I really like Kobo devices for reading. I really do. As I say, I just haven't been sent this latest batch by them. That I don't know whether that was an intentional decision or you just on their part, or whether they have any other reason for that. But hopefully, I'll get to review more Kobo devices in the future. Because yeah, they're really good. Lots of people really enjoy reading on their Kobos, and for good reason. So we wanted to talk a bit about these. This kind of started with a little bit of a kind of remarkable versus the A5X2, which should you kind of get. And we've got the A5X here to talk about that a bit. Got the remarkable ready to go as well. But since this kind of debate opened with you and I, we've got these two others that have entered this kind of category. We've got the Boox Go 10.3, and we've got this V-Woods here as well. And we know from images that the A5X2 is going to be thinner than the A5X by some degree. And the A5X, I can show it to you, is it was a thicker device. But purposefully, they didn't decide to go down that thinness route here. They went for a robustness and less likely to be damaged. And a lot of people say, well, they'd take robustness over thinness. I don't know. Where do you sit on that one?
I feel like I'm kind of somewhere in between. Like, I think that the Nomad's really proven that you can have a thin design and robust design.
Yeah, agreed.
Like I've been lucky. I haven't really like dropped my Remarkable, but I'm pretty sure if I drop that thing, the screen would shatter.
Yeah. And the V-Woods say, and it's been a bit confusing. So this is the V-Woods, and it says that it is a plastic screen, whereas this is a glass screen. The Boox Go 10.3. It says a plastic screen, but it also says Carta 1300. And so here is the difference, really, as we were talking there about Carta 1300. I just boot up my Go 10.3, and this might be the only one I didn't check whether it was charged or not.
Have you noticed the contrast is obviously a little noticeable, but have you noticed the screen responsiveness difference?
Yeah.
It's above 25% or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think I mean, this would be the first time I've really done a side-by-side with the two of these. So we'll do that now. But I think, and no fingerprint reader on this, which is a miss, in my opinion. And it can be done at that thinness, obviously, because V-Woods have done it, and V-Woods have undercut both Remarkable and the Go 10.3 in terms of the thinness.
Yeah,
but I think you can.
Only had that title for like 2 months, huh?
Yeah. Well, the V-Woods isn't officially out yet. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
It is officially a Kickstarter, although they must be pretty far along if they're already sending, properly packaged. I think it was, it's all there really. It's actually an interesting. I meant to say this earlier on about the Big Me. You do at the minute you feel like you're participating. You're paying to take part in a public beta with this, because there is quite, and it's good that they are doing updates, they are listening, but you kind of feel like you're part of an experiment with this a little bit, which is okay. But this is still actually officially in beta, the V-Woods, and you don't feel like that actually. Most of it seems pretty there, but there are also pretty rapid updates. The one thing that's really missing at this point is Google services, and you just don't seem to be able to sign in and have it work at anything. It's not got the Google Play Store, for instance. So you see I've already got the Aurora Store and F-Droid there. You can see that, can't you? Now you can see it.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've managed to install Docs and Word, but I don't think, has Docs worked actually? No, yeah, just kicked me straight out. Look,
it just like opens and quits.
Yeah, it splashed, did the splash screen. It's not even doing it now.
Yeah.
If I go to recents and bin everything, and try again.
A prototype unit on Tuesday, so I'll be
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
to check out some of the compatibility too, like that.
Yeah, but Chrome works. You can sign into Chrome, but that's as
Okay.
far as you can get.
Can you download stuff in Chrome?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure I have downloaded a few things. But
Yeah.
Word works. Microsoft stuff works.
Okay.
Although I don't think there'd be any way to do. So this is my, it is in as me into Word. So you could use it like that. And I've used a keyboard hook to it, and that's okay.
Is there, so it doesn't have the Play Store, right?
No Play Store.
Okay.
No.
So you sideloaded those, or?
No, well, I sideloaded F-Droid.
F-Droid, and then you could get, yeah.
And then through F-Droid, I downloaded Aurora Store.
Yep.
And then from Aurora Store, I downloaded other things. So F-Droid's got some things, but Aurora Store is the more complete place, I think. So I'm happy with that. I mean, it came with everything up to F-Droid. So I haven't really got very far in terms of thinking about what to use. But actually, as you asked, let's talk about the note taking, and that actually is looking pretty good. I don't even think they have a shortcut for full refresh yet. You have to pull down to do that. So let's testing the screen response.
So have you noticed, because of the increased responsiveness, do you think that affects the pen much, or not really?
Yeah, I think it does make it feel
a little smoother.
Yeah, it feels pretty rapid.
That looks pretty instantaneous, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can, if you nitpick, and obviously I'll at some point I'll do like slow-mo stuff, but I think it feels, and especially I guess is one of the things about the Go 10.3 is it's slower than some of the other Boox devices in terms of its responsiveness. But I think this is the Carter, this is Carter 1200. There's still 300 DPI. So the crispness, it shouldn't be any difference. Let's have a look really close to it if I can.
Yeah.
And then put this in. The crispness is pretty similar. But I think you can also see the contrast is better on the Carter 1300 as well, which is pretty important when you've not got a front light.
And then it looks significantly bigger footprint wise, because it's got a 0.3 bigger?
In terms of the bottom of it, you mean?
I think, well, just the size of the panel, I think now is 10.65, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, that is. Let's have a look. So yeah, it's slightly taller.
Or it's like width wise, it's
yeah, width. Yeah, the screen is slightly wider. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'll bring that up to the camera as well. You see that? That's pretty much lined up. And you can
so
see
it's almost like screen. You get, with that little sidebar, you get like the same size screen as,
Yeah, well, it is slightly bigger actually. Yeah, it is noticeable. It's about a centimeter taller, the screen. They're lined up at the bottom.
Yep.
And so that's slightly taller, isn't it?
That's nice, yeah.
But not so much. I mean, like that is the only time I've noticed the difference in size. I knew it was a slightly bigger screen, but I just thought that was across the diagonal. But I think as well, one thing that VWoods have done is they've really listened. Everyone's been a bit complaining about the case, myself included, with this. They've listened to what people have liked and disliked about the cases for the Supernotes, and they say, well, people like a pen loop, and they like magnetic snap. So guess what? You've got both. It's like, so you've got
their market research.
Yeah, I think they've really done their research well, and you've got the pen there, and people like long-lasting nibs, and that's the one they've given me. They haven't given me the choice, but everyone else is getting the kind of choice. But people like magnetic snap, but they also like to know it's secure in their bag as well.
So is it kind of magnetically holding also when it's in the loop there?
It is, yeah, it is holding as well, yeah. Okay. But it's, it just feels very secure. Yeah. And they've given people like the nice choice between the cloth feel or the kind of fake leather feel. So
yeah, kind of similar to the Nomad, right? They have like the weaved one, and then they have this leather one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think they've, lots of good things about that, I think. Yeah, I think like, so for me, if they get the Google services working, it's going to be really compelling. And I think people that is really well balanced actually. If they can get Google Play Store on it, then it's going to be right up there, to be quite honest. And it they as I said, they really listened to the complaints people have about other devices. They've responded to those in the design, and then they've added their own little spin, and it's the AI kind of enabled spin that they've gone for here, which is what Boox have a little, they've touched a little bit on that Boox and put an AI assistant in. It's not hard for companies to do that now. They just need to give a little bit of money to ChatGTP or whoever, and that's easily done. And Bigme have done that a bit as well, but they're the only ones who have this kind of dedicated AI button. So you can press that at any time. It brings up this chat, and you can hold it down and just start speaking to it and ask it a question like, why do you think it is important for a note-taking tablet to have quick access to AI? And it will, hopefully, it's just at 10 seconds, it's converting now. There's a little bit of a lead in there, so it's not sure necessarily. And there we are. And I have used this a couple of times. There we are, enhanced productivity, smart search, personalized clamp. I've used this a couple of times where I've just been like, oh, I wonder what that means, or give me some context around that whilst I'm writing something. And it just pongs up as an overlay. Oh, right, that's what that means. And then I've carried on writing. And I'm just thinking about other smart devices like, people obviously seem keen to market standalone AI things. And I just think having that convenience there, do you need a standalone AI thing when it's very easy for any company to put quick access AI button or an app, or if it's Google, if it's an Android device or a iPhone, you can just install any AI app and you're away. And I think that's, maybe there's something there. Maybe that's something we will use. And it's interesting they put microphones in it, but not speakers. So it's a device you talk to, but it's not distracting you, and it's not going to be your media consumption device. Although you can Bluetooth some speakers in if you wish. But you can see how you can see how it's not quite finished, because if I look, I don't know why it went to. Oh yeah, more just takes you to settings. So this little swipe down menu, you press more, you don't get more options. I mean, think about how many options you normally have in this swipe down. You've only got Miracast and the contrast, but that's grayed out for some reason at this point. You've normally got so many more there, haven't you? And you've got your 3 refresh modes in there as well. It is still obviously improving as we go. And one thing they hadn't done last update. No, they still, I don't think they still haven't put a highlighter, even though there's a highlighter button.
Is that configurable to other things as well in the software? Is the button configurable to other things?
It should be, but I haven't seen that option yet.
Okay,
I can't see that anywhere. So I think they are still developing, but so yeah, it in some cases, I said earlier, it doesn't feel like you're in a public beta, but I guess it does actually, because you've still got, that's the one main miss that I'm like, well, you've got a second function button and an eraser. Why can't I do anything else with that second?
Right. Yeah. You said they're releasing features pretty regularly, or updates?
Yeah, they've said every 2 days there'll be an update whilst it's in the Kickstarter phase.
Nice. So question for you: do you think that the A5X2 will use this panel?
I see. Yeah, I hope so. I really do. I think that's the one thing we have to understand when we're talking about e-ink devices is all these companies are competing for parcels of panels coming out of the factory, and that's one of the reasons why you get the funny behavior with Boox devices going out of stock and never coming back again, and suddenly discontinued. It's because they, e-ink are no doubt having a bit of a headache. Probably it's a good problem to have with all these different companies saying, we want your next 2000, please come on to send them our way. And I hope they'll improve that, the speed they can churn them out. But clearly VWords have managed to get enough of this 10.65 with the Carter 1300.
Yeah.
And Boox managed to secure the Carter 1200 package that, you know, was probably left behind by Kindle, because I'm pretty confident that's the same screen that's in the Kindle, but without the front light.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure Remarkable has put in a large order with e-ink too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we just have to kind of wait and see, really. And I won't be disappointed. I wouldn't sit there and think, oh gosh, I'm not going to buy the A5X2 because it's the older, because this is still, you know, it's still cutting edge. It's still like, you know, if you're currently running a 227 PPI device, you're not massively disappointed by the 227 PPI at any point. But, you know, 300 PPI is still pretty brand new, and it still looks good, and it's still razor sharp on this. So if you're, you know, it's not a reason not to buy the A5X2, but it might be a reason to go with the V-Woods, if that makes sense. So like, it is a good feature about the V-Woods, but it's not a massively negative thing if they get the slightly older panel. Yeah. But it's interesting, isn't it? I think this Boox Go 10.3 is currently, it's the market leader, really, and it's you know, it's just caused a bit of a splash. It's very you know, it's a nice design, and then V-Woods come out with this, and they're like, yeah, we've got a nice design as well. And somebody at Remarkable, yeah, we're a point. You want to be a 0.1 of a millimeter thinner than Remarkable? Well, we will be a 0.1 of a millimeter thinner than you. Like we've got this kind of thinness battle, and somebody at Remarkable must be thinking, they're either thinking, yeah, we've got it. We've got 0.1 of a millimeter thinner than that.
Yeah, we got to go 4 millimeters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah, and or they're thinking, gosh, we better do something software-wise, or we better do something quick, you know, or we better have a follow-up to whatever the next Remarkable is going to be.
I can't believe it took them, however, what did it come out, 2017? Took them almost 7 years to add another pen tool.
Yeah. Second, I think I'm hopeful Remarkable, actually, the next thing we see from them isn't the Remarkable 3, but it's something different. It's something different size, even a Remarkable Mini. And V-Woods are going to do a V-Woods Mini. There'll be an 8-inch device pretty soon as well, which will be cool as well, I think.
I noticed on their site that one's a glass screen.
Yeah. Again, and I think that's just because that's what they can get hold of. Yeah, that's what I think anyway. I mean, that's speculation, obviously, all that stuff about e-ink, but that'll be what they can get hold of. That's what's available, and so that's what they're going to put out there on the market.
Carl says the e-ink market is getting crowded. It certainly is.
It's absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's have a little look at some of these things as well. I'm interested. Whilst we're just having a look at comments, the kind of the other thing that the A5X2 will have above all of these is that it will be the repairable one. And so, yeah, you have a little think, get ready to talk about what you think about repairability, and leading into chatting about a framework laptop. You got your framework now, yeah?
Yeah. Well, that'll be a good transition to that.
Yeah, tell us all about it. So let's have a little look. But people have again talking about the Kobos, really enjoying that. Nice device, good screen, decent refresh, somewhat lousy marketplace. Interesting, yeah. So the thing you didn't like was the actual Kobo marketplace. So that's interesting. Technology was better than the first two Kindle Paperwhites. Yeah. I think Kindle have got away with quite a lot in terms of not necessarily pushing boundaries in terms of their tech, because what they do is push down the price. And Kindle has just been there, you know, always. And I've just done it myself today, haven't I? Recommended it as like, well, if you don't want to spend the earth and you want a good small e-reader, Kindle's hard to look past, really. Absolutely. But Kobo have always been making nice devices, really have. Simply love how that white Boox looks. Yeah, it makes my Note F3 look dull. Yeah, I agree. It is a real nice design they've done there. But I also think, you know, there's something about when something is new You know, we just kind of like ooh and ah about it, and then other things kind of catch up to the look of it. And this, in a way, this is only really catching up to the sleekness of the Remarkable. But now in direct comparison, the Remarkable maybe sometimes looks that little bit dated. It's got, you know, the fact that the kind of, you never noticed this before it came out, but actually the little, ever such a slight change between the top surface when you get into this little sidebar. You know, there's ever such a slight 1 millimeter, not 1 millimeter, 0.1 millimeter maybe, just a little bump over the top there. You know, and that's the type of nitpicking that you have to get to tell the difference between these three really nicely nicely designed devices. You have to really get into that level of nitpickiness, because you've got three really attractive devices here. And
you think the A5X2 will look pretty similar to the Nomad?
I think so. I don't think that they'll do the crystal thing again. I think they'll make that a special thing about the Nomad. But I think they'll have some more up their sleeve, and it'll have that half folio design, which will be something like this, I imagine, where you've got the plastic removable back. It'll be, and then, I mean, actually, gosh, could you imagine that, with that bit being a crystal see-through? Yeah, and then the half folio from that. Oh, it could be stupendous. Cool. But they've obviously been playing that close to their chest because they think they've got a good design. That I think it'll be their own design language. They won't, as these two have done. These clearly are referencing Remarkable. You know, there's no, I don't think it's close enough to be a lawsuit. You never know though, because Remarkable have done that before.
Yeah, I mean, the Boox mimics it a little more than the AI paper, but just kind of the blending the screen with the bezel, you know, that's kind of the Remarkable patented that kind of look.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and
the A4X2 is going to be really interesting too, because I think they're plotting that for December, and they're saying they say on the little spreadsheet there it's going to be a slim device. So
yeah, it does. Yeah, and they've always, I mean, for the longest time, they've been talking about the next A5. They always said the next A5 won't replace the A5X. It will be A5 Slim.
Yeah.
So I think whatever they've had in mind for that, they've been thinking, we're going to undercut Remarkable. We're going to enter the thinness wars. But then, you know, so they were really intending at first, I think anyway, to have this A5X still going.
Yeah.
But then having an A5 Slim to be a choice if you prefer that slim kind of look.
Yeah. So maybe Remarkable comes out, makes a super thin device, and then that gives them time to see, and then their A5 Slim will like undercut that even. Who knows?
Yeah, even exactly. Yeah, they've clearly kicked that a little bit into the long grass, but I don't think they've totally left that idea there.
They're but it's interesting on their modularity kick right now.
Sorry, buddy, you say that a bit again.
I was just saying they're kind of focused on their modularity kick right now and getting all those devices out first.
Absolutely, yeah. And that, I think that's right though. And you kind of can't necessarily do it. Can't do both, can you? You can't have super slim and modular. But I think Carl's right here. You know, it's crowded, but I also think it's a good thing for you guys as consumers, because that's competition. Means prices come down. Means that if you don't like something about one thing, you've got that choice out there.
Yeah, I mean, the V-Woods there is a perfect example. Like you're saying, they nailed the pen loop and the magnetic part, right? And that's all the benefit for the consumer.
Yeah. So to go back, I hope the A5X2 will have Carter 1300 and no cracking glass. That would be a really good thing. I agree with that. If it's got the same screen as V-Woods, that will be good news. But again, e-ink screens are really good. That's why we're here talking. There's the main thing holding this all together is e-ink, isn't it? When will we have a new 7.8 black and white Boox device? I imagine they will have a Go 7.8 pretty soon, and I hope it will. It seems like they can't quite make the 7.8 devices as thin as the larger ones, possibly because of battery size. I don't know why, but it would be amazing. I think if we can have this thinness or even thinner in a 7.8 black and white, wouldn't that be a great thing to see? and again, or a new Tab Mini C. Again, I would love to see a Tab Mini C2. Like they could just put that out tomorrow, and I think that would be worth buying. No, this 751C from Bigme is it's I'm not sure which pen standard it is, but it is active capacitive, which means it does have pressure, but it's pretty bad pressure, really. Mobicide Origin is the smallest note-taking ink tablet. Well, no, it's not the smallest, but it might be one of the smallest with Wacom. But I think that's a 7.8 as well. I'm not entirely sure though. Maybe I'm wrong on that one.
Maybe the Kobo Libra Color, because that's 7, right?
7, yeah. But and their pen, the Kobo pen, is a active capacitive pen as well, so it's not quite as good as the Wacom. I fear for my Note Air 3C, the power button is flimsy. Yeah, okay, I hear you there, buddy. Yeah, you never know. You guys actually cooked me for the Go 10.3, and I'm loving it. Good. Oh, nice to hear. Discovering new stuff for myself, new passions. Yeah, that's why I've been on a bit of a kick, enjoying really, and that's why I've been so enjoying getting back, getting this phone, this e-ink phone we were talking about earlier on, is because it's just getting me going for reading again. It's getting me habitually reading, which, you know, I think almost since the start of parenthood, I've read a lot less than I used to. But when I was between being 18 and sort of 30, I was an absolute voracious reader, like just all of the time, and reading big things, consuming big things, and I'm trying my best to find that time again. And yeah, I'm glad to be squared. Good on you, buddy. Yeah, I'm going to give you 10 points for your 10 out of 10 for your comment there. Thank you very much. A5X2 screen is what I'm concerned with. I don't want glass yet. Lots of people liking the plastic. But the Origin is 6.8. Okay, thank you, Carl. So yeah, it might well be even smaller then.
So I think, to his point, I think the A5X2 will be plastic, because the Nomad here, the Feel Right 2 has a very soft feel to it, and I put Feel Right 2 on my Remarkable, and that feels different because it's flat under, So I don't think it feels good on the Remarkable, but not as good as the actual Nomad here. So I think the A5X will probably be plastic, I would imagine.
Yeah, I thought that was a fascinating video. Check that out. And then I was halfway through that video. I was literally looking, how much does it cost? I'm going to get one. I'm going to put it on. I was going to put it on the A5X. I'm going to do it, and then it was like, oh, but it was a bit disappointing in the end because it was. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe.
Well, so I guess I tried to. I don't want to encourage people to do that, so that's why my findings were there. But I personally love it. I'm gonna keep it on it because I've actually found myself using the metallic tips. Now I can use ceramic nibs on it, but I also use a standard one with a titanium tip, and so I use that more than the felt on it, or the little kind of felt graphite, whatever it is. So for my purposes, I actually really like it, but I don't think everyone should do it. I just want it to be you lose some things if you're using this on it, like the pencil didn't work. The calligraphy pen, if you're using this titanium or the ceramic tip, it's not as wide when you're doing calligraphy on it. So there's little nitpicky things, but some other guy commented on that video that he just did it, and he's pretty happy with the results too.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe maybe I should. You never know. Maybe they'll.
I mean, yeah. It's if you're not comfortable doing installs of screen protectors, then maybe not. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah. Cool. Nice one. And then there's a couple of people asking about the Kobo pen, which is cool, and the Kindle Scribe pen, whether it works. Yep. And it does, right? And then lastly, A5X is the only device I can write as neatly as ballpoint on paper. Boox is like ice skating. Yeah, I can tell you Boox is. Well, I personally, for me, ice skating is writing on this thing. I just can't. I mean, this is the same. It's a Wacom Myanmar pen, and it's just writing on it. I can never get anywhere as neat as on the
Do they make
on Boox
paper-like
or
type protectors for that?
you can. That this is I've just replaced the screen protector on it, which is when you talked about not enjoying replacing screen protectors. I had a bit of a time replacing this screen protector the other day, and actually a lot of the air bubbles seem to have just sort of ironed themselves out actually, which is good news. But I'm still getting big one at the bottom there. But considering this is what happens to this at least this generation of foldable. You after about a year you get a big blister across here basically. And actually, this screen protector, it's a bit softer. It's not paper feeling like rough, but it is a bit grippier. And actually, that's better to write on.
Yeah.
It's a dome. What is it? Whitestone dome screen protector.
Okay.
I looked through a Reddit chat and found they recommended Whitestone dome as being the best, and they apparently have matte screen protectors, but only in the US. So there we are. But this is the Whitestone dome I think it's polyurethane. I could be wrong.
Nice.
It's good. Yeah, it's good actually. So if you do need to change a screen protector anytime soon, I recommend Whitestone dome quite a bit. So tell us about your what you think about the A5X2 being repairable.
Yeah, sure. So about the A5X, the X2, yeah. I mean, I think it's really cool in terms of like we're talking about, having options in the e-ink world is good for the consumer. The whole modularity thing in general is, good for the environment, but it's also really good for the consumer because you don't need to buy a new device all the time. Like I just put out a video about the A5X versus A5X2 because I've been seeing a lot of comments of people like, oh, should I get an A5X right now because it's cheap, it's going to be a lot cheaper than the A5X2. But in the long term, I think you're going to end up spending less money because you're not going to have to buy a new device in 3-5 years. Like you're going to just have that device for a long time.
Yeah, I thought it was a good point. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the framework as well. And the compelling thing is actually, will I live with this device, this framework laptop for 10 years if I go for it? And one thing I think about what devices were like 10 years ago, and I think to myself, well, would I be happy to still be using my laptop from that size, that time, even if it had modern internals? And I think there's quite a lot about that as well. Like we've just spent an awful lot of time talking about who's winning the thinness wars, and I do agree that this is definitely better. Like it's better for the planet, it's better for you as a consumer. Like it's the sensible choice. Modularity, repairability, it's definitely the sensible choice. And I think having things repairable, to be able to just get a new screen protector and put it on this, and all of a sudden it feels like, I don't have to replace this anymore. I was thinking, gosh, am I really going to drop another 1,700 quid to get the Z Fold 6 when this is perfectly fine except the screen, and previously I've sent the screen protector back to Samsung and they've replaced the whole screen. It's like a month without the phone. Whereas if you can actually just replace the thing yourself, then it's clearly far better. But aesthetic tech also matters because to have something that you want to use, like this, is still, it's I don't know how old it is now, but it may be 4 or 5 years old now, and it's still like, I pull it out and I'm like, I love drawing on it. As you can see the drawing that I did there, and it's still a really nice thing. But compared to these, with this sleekness here, and if you've got the two on your desk, which one are you going to pick up? You're going to pick up the thing that I really feel good about using it. And don't get me wrong, I still do feel good about using this. But so what I worry about in a way is that will we still find people throwing away a framework laptop because they still want the very latest MacBook Air because it's not even the Pro, the most desirable one, the very latest MacBook, and no doubt the latest MacBooks when they all get M4, they're going to be even thinner than they are now. There's going to be that kind of like the way people appreciate tech, and tech as a kind of fashion item, and tech as a kind of something to lust after. Where does framework and everything fit into that, and do they have a future? And I think that's why the A6X2 was so, like, the Nomad was so like so important, really, because it managed to do both. It managed to really make me think, yeah, I'll get to use my device and be that repairable device. And so I think that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to it so much. And I don't get that feeling about I haven't had a framework, but I don't look at it and think, yeah, I really want that thing.
Yeah. So
I
I guess I'll talk really quickly about the tablets first, and then we can transition to the framework. But to add a counterpoint to the modularity and repairability, there is something nice because it's trying to replace paper, like having a really thin tablet. It's just a nice writing experience where I sometimes don't find the Nomad. I mean, I love the Nomad, but like if I'm on a table with it, like I do notice the thickness a little bit more, which is, I don't think it like hinders my experience with it, but it is like mildly noticeable for me. Everyone's different, but like the Remarkable, when you're writing on that, and the V-Woods I'm getting on Tuesday, so I'll try it, but like 4.5 is like getting really thin, where it's like more and more like paper. So that's kind of a counterpoint, I think, to the benefit.
So it's whereas the laptop actually doesn't need to be that thin. I
agree with you though. The 16, which I'll share my screen in a second, you can see it, but the 16 is a big laptop. Like I'll do a little size comparison when I have it here, but I actually just I was with my friend the other day, and his cousin had the 13-inch framework, and that's a really like slick device, and it does have the not as much modularity as a 16, but it feels really streamlined. Like it looks pretty slick. It looks like a modern laptop. You wouldn't be able to tell. The 16, when I show you, you'll see it's like it's a chunky guy, and it's definitely more of like a desktop replacement, I would imagine. Whereas like you have a 16-inch laptop, your MSI, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty sleek for having.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. That's a good standard laptop. That doesn't, but it doesn't like. It's not like your LG Grams of the world, and you're kind of like, it's not. It's like that. I bought that laptop because it had all of the specifications that I needed.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this too, but this is the new Snapdragon chip, but you can see it's like really thin, it's like 2.5 pounds. It's pretty cool. But I'll go into the top-down shot now if you want.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. I'm just going to also disappear from the screen while I just replace this for 1 second.
Can you see that, Kit?
You fire in. Yeah, there we are. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the 16. I have not put out any content really on it yet because I'm still, testing it and kind of tweaking things. But just, really cool device. Like, I'll turn it on, but you just pop these. All this stuff slides out, and it's all configurable. So, like, if I wanted to completely rearrange the keyboard, I can pop this out. And it's pretty like self-explanatory too. It all works very seamlessly. But like, let's say you're a lefty and you want to run a numpad here, and then you want, a different keyboard, pop it here. And then you can align, like you noticed earlier I had in the center. Here you can pop it here. And you can actually, I don't know if you can see this, but as I'm doing stuff, it's like showing new configuration.
All right. If you pull it a bit more towards the center.
Actually, this is interesting. This is my first time doing it while the computer's on. But I never, I just learned that it has that feature. That's pretty cool. But so then, I pop these spacers in here, and boom, new laptop setup, lefty. And, people are going to release new additions for this. Like these are the Matrix LED modules they have. But there's some other cool stuff that I've seen like people working on.
Yeah,
And
I think that's it's depending on that, really, isn't it? It's what is the community going to do with this thing?
yeah, definitely. And so like I have all these ports configured the way I want them. Like these two are USB-C because those are the fastest Thunderbolt 4 ports. And then I have, HDMI 3.5. Over here I have USB-C, legacy USB, and micro SD. But so that's all configurable. They're releasing new ones of these, and they're basically just little USB-C modules that interface in, and they are like rock solid. The industrial design on this is really good. Like it's built to consumer grade standards, or like not normal. It's like business grade standards. So it's like drop test proof and everything. Like it goes through more rigorous testing than normal consumer laptops. And this is the GPU.
Really
so
cool.
you can swap out the GPU, and yeah, I mean I like it, but I am going to use it more like a desktop replacement. And I think I'm actually going to install Linux on it, because one of the benefits I think of this is I'm going to, just like this Supernote here, like I'm going to own both of these for a very long time. And so that has made me want to install Linux on it, because, Framework has really good Linux support, but also because I don't want to deal with like Windows updates and like things changing all the time, because I'm going to own it for so long. I just want to set it up once and then like forget about it, And
that would be cool. Let's get a couple of people asking and making some really interesting points. Let's so hold on for one moment and respond to these. Just a couple of things about the A5X. Yeah, it is an A5 size writing area. We'll leave that for one moment. And yeah, we absolutely hope we'll see a Boox Palmer with a sim this year. This is a Kai. This is a Framework 16 we're talking about there. It's a totally modular laptop. Really interesting idea, and something that I totally, if I had more disposable income, I would have had one just to have a little look. And this isn't the modularity. It's not an ARM CPU, although there's no reason why ARM CPUs couldn't go into modular laptops like this. But we are going to talk about AMD. Yeah, so that's you can have AMD and you can have Intel. It's your choice in those. Yeah.
So just a little size comparison kit. This is a 16-inch, but you can see. Oh, hold on, my camera. 1 second. So you can see it's like very thin bezel, right? And so just look at, this is also 16-inch, but you can see like width-wise it's the same, but look how much extra kind of depth it has, right? So this, like, you can get without a GPU, and it goes kind of to here. So you can make it thinner, but configured like this, it is a pretty big laptop. And that's partially because of the back thing, but also you'll see the screen, because this, I can remove this and change the screen super easily. It does have kind of a big bottom here.
And you'll be able to replace that entire screen panel. Yeah,
exactly. Like the 13-inch, they just launched a new high refresh rate, high pixel one where you can just swap it out easily, and it's all magnetic and it just pops off. But
just talking about it's making me reconsider my thoughts on it. Anyway,
this laptop here, I mean, I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna install Nobara, which is a Linux distro on this. So I'm gonna make a video about that, and then I'm gonna do a 6-month review. So probably a couple months away from that. But just to reference, like this is a 14-inch laptop. This is 14.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it's not thick. Like I'll show you the kind of thinness. So here's a comparable 16-inch. It's really not. Let me get it the angle. It's not that thick, like I would say this is a pretty slim 16.
Yeah.
For the power that it has, but yeah, it's just it's a super cool device. I'm excited to see like what comes out from Framework, and also just like other developers and people that tinker a lot,
Yeah. Awesome. So Carl says, to hell with aesthetics, give me a robust tablet with great note-taking software. No one looks cool if they're not productive. Yeah, I absolutely agree. The sensible side of my my mind agrees with you entirely, Carl. But you I don't think every consumer has that same opinion, and I don't think unfortunately, I don't think it's the reason why people buy tech. And I think actually, I remember this kind of switch when the iPhone came out and the iPad started to gain popularity. I remember this sudden switch where so many more people became tech enthusiasts, and those same people have no interest whatsoever in understanding how it works or repairing it when it breaks. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think we live in a better society because of the uptake of tech, because of what Apple have done in terms of their aesthetic tech. And that might be a totally controversial opinion to have, but I think that I just remember when my wife came home and she said, "I want an iPhone," and I was like, "Oh, that's the first time I think I've ever known you want a piece of technology." You use technology because you kind of have to, but everything up until then has been simply a necessity, and people finding it a pleasure to do to work is a good thing in my opinion. And it's not, aesthetics is the way it feels and the way the way you want to use something. I think there's something to be said for that, but I am totally happy to continue the debate. I'm definitely not saying I disagree with you. Interesting. And sadly, this is a very niche market. Many people choose the ink tablet mainly because of how it looks rather than performance or repairability. I think Max, that's partly what I mean. It's those people aren't wrong. There's just, that's their way of consuming tech. And I think we do need a better balance in the future. And I think we do, everyone needs to sort of understand what happens to their device after they dispose of it, if they dispose of it at all. And these are the things we do need this discussion in society, and people have to appreciate modularity. And as I say, that's why can you just show us the back of that A6X2 again?
Yeah, sure.
That's why that's so important, because that makes, for me, like you can see, there's the battery, there's the compute over the other side, there's your storage. This is how the thing works, and having the aesthetics, having the modularity be part of the aesthetics is it's an attractive thing to go for the future. Cool. So let's
nice.
Yeah. Oh, just to answer this one, does this flexibility affect the performance in any way, like some latency of the keyboard or other peripherals? Good question there.
He's talking about the framework?
Yeah.
Not that I've noticed. No, it seems the framework is, they were pretty rigorous in their design of the, let me pull it out again. So like a lot of these little modules, like when I pop this out, you'll see there's a magnetic kind of pin here.
Mm-hmm.
And so depending on the position I put it uses a different one of these, but they're basically little like Raspberry Pi controllers, and they directly interface. So there's no like lag or latency or anything that I've noticed.
Mm.
And same thing with these modules, they have magnetic click-ins to the
the little USB ports on the side. I mean, is the USB-C, because all those 6 ports on the side, they're all essentially going into a USB-C, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah. So you could actually, I just want to show you something really quick here.
Yeah.
This is the interposer. So this is where you disconnect the GPU, and when you slot this in, that's what basically is the PCIe link.
Yeah.
But to your question, the little ports, I'll show you. Like it's if I pop one out, USB-C, and then you could actually just straight plug into there. But it's just aesthetically, I think
a laptop with 6 USB-Cs is not unwelcome, is it? That's
no, yeah. It's certainly no need for docks on this thing.
Yeah.
And there is in the back here, you see that? That's a direct display port to the actual GPU.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Oh, wow. Yeah. That is cool. I think it's a really interesting and important exercise to have gone through. And I think what they'll probably learn from this is what things do people end up wanting to swap out and what things do people not bother. I think people will want to add more memory and more storage, and making that easier, actually, if we can do it kind of the way the framework did it, to make that easy to swap out. Or people might want to swap out ports. Okay, well, the way framework just swapped out ports, we can implement that into lots of different laptops. And I think that probably it's a good. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's like it feels like building Legos.
Yeah.
You
Did
know?
you all see the LEDs just go up there?
Yeah, you can even play little games on here and stuff. You can do custom messages and all that.
Oh yeah. And it's just, and I think that's for people like you, Vlad, that like want to tinker.
Yeah.
For people who don't want to tinker, but then
If you don't
actually
want to
appreciate
tinker, I think the 13 is still good because it's very simple. Like it has the ports, but it doesn't have all this like keyboard modularity.
Yeah.
The only thing is the whole deck can be removed, and then you can swap the motherboard year over year or every other year or something. You know. So the 13.
I think so. This will like most people get annoyed because they have to replace their, let's say, MacBook because it's not running the latest software they need to use because it's not got enough RAM, or they filled up the hard drive and they don't want to not have the things they have on the hard drive, but they can't add a bigger storage into it. So like, that's where people get annoyed. They love their computer they're using normally, but they have to replace it because it's reached a barrier. And when you get those bottlenecks, that's why I love having this desktop PC that I'm using. Is every time I get a bottleneck, I'm like, oh well, I just swap that part out. I can get a 2 terabyte M2 hard drive and shove it in, and then I'm back in business. And that's the and that can be the new aesthetic. That can be the new thing. And so hopefully companies like Lenovo and all the other companies learn from this. Oh, well, we find that actually people who buy their framework are actually swapping out this, and this. So we better make those parts modular in our next design. Swapping out batteries, for instance. I mean, that used to just be an accepted thing, didn't it? And battery technology got better. But, it used to be the case that every laptop, people used to carry a second laptop battery in their bag. So a long day, you just, get to the end of the day, swap it out.
The laptop game switched first to non-replaceable, and then the phone market took a later turn. But like I remember, quick charge is nice, but like it's not as quick as swapping your battery really quickly.
No, that's it. Cool. Let's talk.
I used to carry 2 phone batteries on my Galaxy Nexus and my Galaxy Note 3, and it was just you never had battery anxiety. Like.
So let's talk Snapdragon X Elite now. Then tell us you've not had long to play with that, have you? Did you get it out of the box today?
Yeah, I haven't had too long. I've tested a few things. I tried to run Blender benchmark, did not run on this.
Right.
We'll get into that a little bit, but first kind of impressions, I got it Friday afternoon. The battery life is just like fantastic. It's really unparalleled for what you're used to on a Windows laptop. Like this. You have the 185H, right? The Core Ultra.
Yes. No, it's not 185. No, it's 155.
So, but the new like Core Ultra, right?
Yeah, it's Core.
That's what this one is. It's the 185H, and like this is significantly better than this 13th gen over here. But like it probably lasts like 2-3 more hours, but it also has a bigger battery. This is like insane. Like I'm probably getting almost double the battery life of this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I certainly noticed the step change to the Core Ultra from previous i7 machines that I've used. But
have you found your battery pretty good on your MSI?
Yeah, it's good. It's good except when it's fine when I'm doing video editing, but I'm not. It's what is nice about it is that it's very different when you're doing different things. And so you kind of get to know, all right, I know I'm not firing up the graphics card, so I'm getting better battery life. I'm in a browser, so it's just plodding along. It's using its performance cores, and that's really fine. And then I get 8 hours of battery life in that kind of scenario. But then when I fire up Premiere, then I still only get 2.5 hours or something like that. So it's. And that 2.5 hours is what I always got on my previous laptop, no matter what I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe even a bit less than that, actually. But yeah.
Yeah. So this you probably can't read it because it's very small, but this has the Snapdragon X Elite, the X1E 7 A100, a terrible naming convention, but it is the weaker of the new Snapdragon X Elite processors. So they're going to have one that can have a multi-core like boost and a little higher boost on the third rung. But you know, from my testing, it is fantastic. I've only gotten like 1% battery drain per day, which, you know, for a Windows machine is pretty good. Like even that Core Ultra, I probably get a couple percent per day, you know. But the biggest thing on this laptop specifically, they now switched to OLED. So this one was a mini LED, which is very bright, but the OLED is noticeably really, really nice. I really have been enjoying that. And as you know, like with Copilot Plus, they're trying to make a big like AI push now. I was at Best Buy the other day and they had like signs everywhere for Copilot Plus. And I don't know, do they have Best Buy in the UK?
No, we don't know.
You know, it's like a big kind of tech retailer.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They have like signs outside and stuff. But yeah, so the device itself's nice. The thinness and the fans are, I think, what stood out to me the most. Like I actually played a mobile game on this on battery power. Sorry, I lost the image for a sec. And it ran really smoothly. Because, you know, like I think the last time we talked, like we discussed how like the Windows PCs, they really lose a lot of efficiency and like a lot of performance when they're off the mains power. This one is like finally kind of the first one that doesn't do that. It's like you can get most of the performance just on battery because it's so power efficient. But,
so I hear that the graphics is the one thing that kind of lets them down, isn't it? Is the one?
Yeah, I mean it's not the most powerful. I think the Core Ultra, the internal graphics is a little better in this. I still have to do some testing, but I think from what I've seen online. But that's a good point, actually, Kit. Like these, I'll do a review of this, but like it's not the best for content creation, right? Because it's using the internal graphics and it's doesn't have a GPU and it doesn't have like an SD card, you know, things like that. But they're kind of the first wave of these. So I think these are going to be really interesting when the ARM support is getting better. It's pretty good right now, and the Windows x86 emulation is good on these. But it'll be more interesting when these get actual graphics cards. So like the bigger units that have this chip, so you get really good battery efficiency, and then you can have a graphics card so you can get good, you know, content creation, gaming, all that stuff.
Yeah, that is still one thing that I would think. But then what I would imagine is having a laptop like that, which is, you know, the thing if I'm typing or whatever doing. Have you used Office apps that much?
Have I what?
Have you used like Office apps or anything like that? Sheets?
Yeah, I've used some of the Office suite. And then I think DaVinci Resolve works well on this on native ARM, but on x86 for Premiere Pro, for example, you have to run it emulated. They are working on an ARM version, but it's not out yet. So
yeah,
that's the other thing. Like it is still pretty early to be an adopter, but like if you want like something for the go and you're just doing a lot of productivity stuff, this is really amazing. And it is a little strange because it has, you know, a USB-C right here. Sorry, right here. And then on this side it has two USB-Cs, and that's all for input output.
Yeah.
So I mean it's good we have the flexibility, but like there's no 3.5mm jack, there's no SD card, like just kind of things like that.
Yeah, and HDMI. Yeah,
exactly.
I would imagine having that to be Office. You know, that kind of thing, that long battery life for my you know, work.
As a teacher. I mean, if you wanna crank out like 14 hours of Excel on this thing, you can easily do that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that would be that would be the use case for that. And then, you know, like you say, the framework is more like a portable desktop, isn't it? With you can add the big GPU when you need it. You quickly swap out. You need more RAM because the NLEs are getting better and more intensive and things like that. Yeah,
definitely.
Cool, man.
So, something interesting about this that I feel like some people might not have heard, but You remember in our first live stream, we talked about Macs and how the Macs are so power efficient with the M1 chip. And when it came out, it was like revolutionary in terms of efficiency and performance, and the fact that it was a whole new architecture of ARM and just like really good. So what happened was the guy who actually developed that for Mac, Gerard Williams, he went off after like the design phase, and now they're just iterating on that. But he went off and started his own company called Nuvia, and then they were working on server ARM chips. And a little bit after he started the company, Qualcomm came in, paid him 1.4 billion for the company, and swooped that up. And so this is the result of that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, sounds like
that's why the power efficiency is so good, and why the ARM performance is very good as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Really is fascinating. So just a couple more things about it. Like you've talked about anything that can't run on the ARM chip. You didn't run the Blender thing, but what about the NPU? So the kind of battle in processing power is going to be in TOPS, isn't it? And the Copilot Plus. I bought only 6 months ago Windows AI PC, which was what they were pushing at that point.
Yeah.
With the Intel were pushing that with having an NPU of any kind, and I think my 155H chip Core Ultra 7 is got like 10 TOPS or something, 10 trillion operations per second. But these guys, the Snapdragon X Elites, have NPUs with 40 trillion operations per second, and that's going to be the kind of battle. Look out for the numbers of TOPS. That's what reviewers will be talking about. I mean, have you seen that NPU fire up for anything at all yet?
So I think the biggest thing I've really noticed, there's one thing, like I told you, I just got it on Friday, so I haven't done too much testing on it. But the one thing I'm actually really interested to try is it can do live translation, like for language. So I want to try that. I'll probably do some with either family where we're trying to converse in different languages or something. So that I'm really excited for, and that is I believe due to the NPU in it, because it's so powerful it can do that. And there's like auto presence detection, which is okay. I think the Paint Co-Creator, I haven't tried that yet, but I'll probably try that. But from what I've seen online, it doesn't seem like the most useful tool. But one of the things that is really good about this SoC is the dedicated image signal processor, and that is really good for webcams. So it kind of brings like the laptop webcams to smartphone caliber stuff.
Right.
And as you know, like smartphone webcams are way better than like most laptops. And so that's pretty neat. But I still think, I think in our last live, we talked a lot about like NPUs and kind of AI and stuff. And I think we're still like very much in the early phases of seeing what it can kind of come out with and offload so that it's more efficient. But I haven't, to be honest, I haven't done too much with the NPU, just kind of some of those things I mentioned. Have you used your NPU for anything really?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I only really see it go to do anything when when you're using a camera effect. There's really very little. I think that I'm imagining they've launched the Copilot PC with more on-chip kind of AI, but I mean, Copilot mainly still goes up to the cloud, doesn't it, to do a lot of its question and response stuff. But I think they're gonna like I say, the image stuff will be more on device, won't it? But that's be very interesting to see where that goes. Yeah, but that's an interesting discussion. So I always thought that the reason why the phone camera was so much better was more to do with the actual physical camera hardware, but it's the processing really that makes a big difference. Yeah.
I think it's a combination of the two, but I think the digital signal processing is a big part of it as well.
So fascinating. Any other questions about the about anything we've talked about? Chuck it into the chat. Have a little.
Should we go to chat? See what some of
see what's going on in there. Some really interesting stuff as always.
I'm gonna stop sharing, Kit.
Yeah, no worries. I'd like to see that comment. I was off. Yeah, cool. And this we've covered this, but I think Yeah, the price of the A5X worries me, especially when you consider shipping and taxes. Yeah, that's always something that they've not found super easy. I think Supernote and yeah, it's. I think that e-ink devices, the price will eventually come down, but I think because of what we talked about earlier with the availability of the screens still, I think we need to, wait a little bit longer. But as Vlad made the point, you're looking at buying a Supernote to keep it for 10 years potentially and upgrade it when necessary, and that might make it very worth the price. And if you buy something that's £300 now, you might buy twice or even three times over that lifespan, and so that it justifies maybe the £150 extra or something like that. Yeah, it's very hard to get in the UK. I often tell my wife she's one of the few Supernote users in the UK. She now sometimes notices people in her meetings. My wife's a doctor, so she goes to quite a lot of meetings with other professionals, and she carries her Supernote in, and other people notice it who have Remarkables, and there's, she sees a lot of Remarkables, and she's seen one or two Kindle Scribes, and these are the two that are going to sell the biggest volume at this point. But any other UK Supernote
A5X, or you gave her the Nomad, is that right?
I guess Nomad, yeah.
And so yeah, she'll be able to keep that device for a long time, right?
Absolutely, and she loves it. Like it's just as a notebook. She really does love it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well. A4X2 might come out this year. I'm struggling what to get. Yeah. Oh, I know. Isn't that hard?
That's a tough one, right? Because I mean, the last guy was just complaining about the price. The A4X2 is going to be significantly more expensive, I would expect.
Might be £1,000 that.
Probably close to it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But it will be slim. So
yeah,
that goes back to our conversation about slim versus modular. So it'll be modular and slim, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is an interesting stuff. It's not a one-to-one. It's not just attractive or user replaceable. Yeah, it can be done, as we said, can be done both at once, which is what Supernote have done. Yeah.
Also, I know I was reading a subreddit, and they were talking about, how like Boox has split view.
Yeah.
So I think one of the mods on the Supernote chat said like they are like working on it, but it's not like of the utmost priority. But my guess would be that when the A4X2, it will become more of a priority, because like with a really big screen, split view is super useful, right? So that's something to consider too if you're doing A5 versus A4.
And that is massively useful. It really is, like, especially if you're someone that needs to make notes while reading big documents, like large size documents,
Yeah, or books even, right? You could read a book and have a notepad.
So Ruby, do you mean a pressure sensitive touchscreen with the framework? Is that what you're asking there? I'm interested to follow up on that one. A white gray device, not okay, so you just prefer that aesthetic. I think people do like that kind of, the bezels to be a similar tone as the screen. I'm not sure why we don't have the ink getting right to the edge of devices yet, but then we don't have that in most tablets either. I thought that might be something that would come pretty soon, actually. So we'll see about that one. It's an interesting one. Air3C is awesome. Yes, it certainly is. Yeah, I hope so as well. I've been just approached the last couple of days by somebody looking to develop a mod for certain apps to allow them to be used better, to work more, to allow them to work more seamlessly with the e-ink screen. And so that's an interesting thing. He was asking a hardware question about that. So yeah, absolutely. This is about the framework. An old space game used to play. Every time you get some cash, you upgrade the guns or force field. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You sort of, you got a certain amount of cash on the way in, and you pick the bits that you're going to need, and I know I'm going to replace that bit sooner, so I don't need to quite get the best one there.
Or depending on like the task you're going to go do, you kind of like set it up the way you need it for that, when more accessories come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it does have to be thicker to allow those type of connections. Soldering something together is a way you can make things thinner. Absolutely. I agree with this point as well. The perception e-ink is mainly for reading needs to change. Yeah, no, it's for the Word, isn't it? It's for Word. It's also for drawing though as well. I don't think it's for video personally, but some people. My dad was one of those guys with 2 spare batteries. Absolutely. People weren't necessarily doing it, but it's more convenient than carrying a charger. But there's been a discussion about these batteries. I will let them crack on with that for now.
Cello sounds. Can
Interesting.
we do a video on optimizing video content for e-ink?
Yeah, do you mean like making videos to be watched on e-ink? I suppose. I suppose you might have to think about the colors you were using. If it was to be displayed in black and white, then you need to make sure your colors weren't at the same darkness. That's always a difficulty with black and white. So any differences need to be different tones rather than just different hues.
Kind of meta. Do a video on optimizing video content.
Or if you were optimizing for color e-ink, think what colors the e-ink shows best.
Do you ever use video on any of your e-ink devices?
No. Okay. Just no.
Yeah.
I mean, I might
kind of an edge case.
Yeah, I mean, if like let's say an update popped up and I was on my on my Tab Mini C or something, or I should say my wife's Tab Mini C really, because I don't get to use it. If I was on the Note F3 and there's a update and it's an interesting video, I might just watch the bit I'm interested in or something like that. Just if it's a talking head video, maybe. Then yeah, but no, I certainly don't. It's not something I'm looking to do. Yes, Carl says I'm one of the UK Gorilla Scribe users. Yeah, Supernote users. Cool. Thanks for that. Appreciate you. Dream about a split screen on the A4X2. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the A5X2 could see it too. I think it'll just be a better experience on the A4.
Yeah. But it's. I mean, it's usable on
them, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I used to use it quite a lot. I haven't recently, but I used to use it quite a lot on the old Nova Air 2, and I would do it with like just Kindle book here and notebook here. It's just for quick scribbles. I would do that like just lying down in bed, just as little things I was thinking about.
Do you have the Boox tab, the big tab they made?
Yeah.
Does that have split screen?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's do you ever use it on that?
Yeah, I would use that all the time.
Yeah.
And I did on the paper, QuirkLogic paper all the time as well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like just sort of almost default to that, really. And I think that's probably where the Tab Ultra C for me isn't quite there for the productivity device it wants to be, because the A5 screen is a little bit, the 10.3-inch screen, it's a little bit too small for fitting in the two apps simultaneously comfortably. And I think that's where, so you end up having the one app up and then using the recents to go back to what you were, your square button on Android to go back and find the main thing, to find the previous app. So multitask switching is just easier with split screen, isn't it? And I think a 12-inch might be the way to go. And I really enjoyed that Lenovo Tab P12 matte that I was using, because you had enough room for 2 apps.
Okay.
And I think 12-inch. I think 12-inch color e-ink is coming soon, and I think that's going to be a real winner. But it already exists because it's in a Hisense monitor.
Okay.
And so I think Kaleido 3 at 12-inch might be a bit of a sweet spot, because when you go up to 25.3-inch, then the actual pixel density drops so much that it really doesn't. It's obviously still a high resolution monitor. It's not quite 4K resolution, but it's still very high resolution. And the 25.3 inches, and it's a real. I really liked using it, but I think 12. They could probably just about maintain the 300 ppi across a 12-inch screen, and that with color you could really see that for multitasking. And that's the type of, we're getting into sort of laptop size screen or productivity Android tablet size screens, aren't you? But I think a 13.3 Kaleido 3, 13-inch laptop type situation would be really, really good. But whether it all of a sudden isn't, you lose all of the note-taking stuff that we've really enjoyed with these. So cool. Yeah, Boox, Max Lumi 2. Yeah, I'd appreciate you. Made you appreciate the split screen, absolutely. And yes, Dr. Riquelme, I hope we will, but we haven't got any information just yet. So right now, I think if you want to buy an e-ink smartphone right now, you can check out the Big Me, which we were talking about at the top of the video, and I'll be back with a full review of that sometime soon. Okay, anything, Vlad, anything else just to...
Let me just look at the comments more. I think I saw one about the framework that we didn't answer. Well, it depends on the use case. The device would be bigger just to make the battery replaceable. There's a reason why Vlad is demoting his framework laptop to use a lighter and thinner one. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I asked Lenovo this for this laptop because I was curious. I'm reviewing one of the other ones, so I wanted to compare it a little to this. And also for this live, we had kind of on the docket talking about Snapdragon, so I was like, oh, let me try to get a unit for it. But like, yeah, I'm gonna try to create content on this. But like I said, doesn't have SD card, doesn't have dedicated GPU. So while I probably can, I don't think I'm going to use it to create content. I'm going to use it more when I want to go to a coffee shop or if I travel and I just want really good battery life,
Yeah, that seems the use case, doesn't it? Awesome. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me, Vladimir. Thank you, everybody in the chat as well and who's been here live. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was a great chat. Take care. Thanks,
buddy. Cheers, everyone.